So you just got your new Xbox handheld, you're all set up through the Windows experience, and you're ready to download some games and start playing. However, there's a bunch of things that I recommend you do before you start downloading games and playing. There's a lot of moving parts in the background and a lot of updates that come from different places that you might want to go ahead and go through before you start enjoying your handheld. Now, there are also a bunch of different programs that you want to go through the first initial setup process so that you don't have to worry about that later on. So when you first start your handheld up, you are going to be brought to this page here. You're just going to want to go down to where it says My Library. From here, go over to My Apps. And from here, it's going to show you everything that you pretty much want for your handheld. Now, you're going to have Armoury Crate, Microsoft Edge, and Steam installed by default, but you can also go ahead and download Battle.net, Epic Game Store, Ubisoft Connect, as well as the GOG Gallery. Now, even if you don't like Epic Game Store, you don't have an account, or you don't have any games, I recommend going ahead and using that because they give away free games every week. At least claim the games so that you have something to play with on your device. Not all games might work with the handheld. However, at least your library of games will increase and grow for free. So just go ahead and download that. That's something I do recommend. Now, we're going to start off with Armoury Crate because this is something you need to go into and you need to update before you start doing anything. Now, when you do first launch Armoury Crate for the first time, you are going to go through a initial setup process. You're gonna have to agree to a few things, read some whatever, blah, 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 agree to this and that, and then it'll drop you here. Once you're here, you're gonna go to the update center and you're gonna click on check for updates. Now, of course, when you're first starting this for the first time, there are gonna be a bunch of updates as well as an update to the Armoury Crate itself. You're gonna wanna go ahead and make sure that you update Armoury Crate first. Once that updates, it is gonna ask you to close Armoury Crate as well as restart it. Once it's restarted, it's gonna go through another initial setup process. You're going to want to go through that once again. It's going to show you what's new. And then you're going to go back to this page here, go back to the update center, check for updates again, and then you're going to go ahead and update all. So these are all the updates that I have right off the bat. I have not installed anything yet, just to show you what is available. So you do have a BIOS update, a firmware update, some graphics drivers, and those are very much important. So when you install those, it is going to go through some restarts. It's going to tell you to make sure that your device is plugged in, especially for that BIOS update, because it has to do a complete BIOS install. And then once that's all done, it's going to boot you back into your device. Once it's done, go back into Armoury Crate, check for more updates, make sure everything is fully updated. And then once there's no more updates that are showing, you're good to go with Armoury Crate. However, since you're here, might as well check out what else it has to offer. So performance, we'll show you your different performance mode. I do recommend messing around with the manual mode. Can't really mess this up too much, but what manual mode is basically if silent in performance is not enough and turbo is too much power, manual mode is going to give you that sweet spot where you can pretty much just edit it to how you need. Even if you're using something like cloud gaming, since silent is 10 watts, you could go ahead and put this all the way down to 7-watt TDP, so that you're saving even more power since you don't need it for cloud gaming. I don't recommend that for playing actual games. I would use this for something like 20 watts and then set the second one to 22 and then the last one to 25. You could then go ahead and also mess with the fan curve. So if you want your device to run a little cooler, you can mess around with that. Once that's all said and done, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna click on the apply. I have to put that on one and then go here, hit apply, select yes, and now whenever you use that manual mode, it is going to use exactly what you use. If you hit on the command center button, you'll have the manual mode here. Now you can go here to this drop menu and do it on the fly here. You don't have to go back into Armoury Crate in order to use that. And then once that's done, go ahead and press apply and now apply your setting. Another thing you could do within the performance tab is the GPU settings. By default, the memory is assigned to 8 gigabytes. There are going to be games that might need a little bit more. If you're watching videos showing you what they recommend you use for your device on certain games, they might recommend you go ahead and bump this up to something like 12 gigabytes. I probably wouldn't recommend going maxed out on 16 gigs. 8 gigabytes is a nice spot to start at. That's where it is by default. Maybe bump it up to 10, 12 max, depends on the game. But as of right now, you can go ahead and leave that as is. A few other things that you could do here is the aura sync and lighting. If you don't like the lights around the joysticks, you can go into here and you can pretty much change it to whatever you want. You have static so that it's a single color. Rainbow is its default. but I believe you can also turn this off somehow. Not entirely sure. Maybe if you turn the brightness all the way to 0, yes, that turns off the lights. Me personally, I like to do this because it's just a little distracting. If you're like me, you can go ahead and do this, hit static, brightness to 0, and it turns those lights off. All right, so with that, we're pretty much done with Armoury Crate. Now you can go ahead and you can look around at the other tabs and feel free to mess around with a few things. Don't go too crazy though. You can always go ahead and go into anything and reset to default, especially if you messed around with it too much, just to get back to where you were, so that if you do mess around with it too much, at least you know you have a safety net. Then what you need to do is press that brand new Xbox button. We're gonna go to home. We're gonna go back to our apps. We're gonna go to my apps. And then from there, we're gonna start Steam. Now, if you're not using Steam, you don't have to do this, but I do recommend launching Steam from this tab. Now you also have Steam here. And if you launch it from here, it's going to launch Steam like it does on a regular desktop. It's just going to launch it in normal mode. However, if you use the My Apps tab and launch Steam from here, it's going to launch Steam in big picture mode. Now, when you do launch Steam for the first time, it is going to go through that initial setup. It's going to go through the updates, going to make sure they get you the latest update of Steam, and then it's going to launch. And that's exactly what you want. From here, it's going to give you the window to sign in. Now, if you're watching this, the screen is tiny for some reason. This is like a glitch. This also happened with the ROG Ally as well. In order to fix this, just go down to your quick settings, toggle the resolution. You're going to sync the resolution from 1080 to 720 to 900 to 1080, and it didn't work. Whatever. I don't know why it's not working now. Exit big picture mode. All right, it fixed itself. Whatever. Go into Steam, make sure you sign in, initialize, get everything set up. Another thing is, if you're using an external storage device like an SD card or whatnot, you're going to want to go to this portion of it anyway. So we're going to go into from game to desktop, so I can use the mouse. Go to Steam, go to settings. You're going to go to your storage. From here, we're going to click on this drop down menu. You're going to press add drive, and you're going to look for your SD card. I don't think you could do this in big picture mode, so this is something I just recommend you do, especially if you are using an SD card, so that when you download games, you can choose between your just your standard drive and the SD card. Or if you have an external hard drive, you can put that on there as well. Okay, so that didn't work as planned. I don't know why Steam was so small. Maybe because I'm using a capture card right now to record, but normally switching the resolution does actually fix that for me. I don't know why it didn't fix it there. But once you're done there with Armoury Crate and Steam, you can do the same for Epic Game Store as well as Battle.net, GOG, and whatnot. Make sure you go ahead, sign into all that, get that all set and done. And then we're going to go ahead and press the Xbox button, go over to the cogwheel, and we're going to exit full screen experience. Once we exit full screen experience, there are a few things we need to update. Like I said, there's a lot of cogwheels in the background, a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, a lot of places to updates to come from. We already have Armoury Crate all set and done, but we are going to want to go ahead and go to the start menu. I have not changed or done anything here yet. This is exactly how bloated it is out the box. If you're outside of the US, it might be a little less bloated, but this is what we have to deal with. So you're going to go to My ASUS. My ASUS is going to have a setup process. It's going to ask you to sign in with an account or register your product. You are going to want to go ahead and register. As you see here, warranty expiration is October 18th. 2026, so a year from the time that I first started my device. To have a year of warranty. Make sure you go ahead and do that. Next, you're going to want to go to System Update. Now, it is going to show some updates that the Armoury Crate showed. So as you see here, graphics driver, Armoury Crate control interface, as well as the BIOS. This might also show some updates that Armoury Crate did not show. So make sure you go ahead and check for updates here. All right, so back to the start menu. The next thing we don't want to do is go to the Microsoft Store. Now, most of the applications, if not all the applications downloaded on this device, is going to update through the Microsoft Store. So go to the Downloads tab here in the bottom left. You're going to go ahead and check for updates, and there are going to be a lot of them. But as you see here, modified minutes ago, modified today, all these applications had an update today. And this all happened within the past few hours. So there are going to be a lot of updates. So make sure you go ahead and check that. Make sure everything is up to date, especially the Xbox app. You're going to want to constantly make sure just that the Xbox app, as well as anything else ASUS related, is up to date. All of my stuff is up to date, so nothing should pop up. All right, so now we're gonna wanna go to the start menu once again, go to settings, go to Windows updates, and we're gonna have to do some Windows updates. There's going to be a buttload of those as well. I already did a bunch of updates. These are more that have not installed yet. So just go ahead and check for updates or install what you have. Once that's all done, a bunch of updates are gonna require you to restart, go back into Windows settings, go back to Windows updates, check for more updates because there probably are going to be more updates. And then once that's done and you click on the little check for updates and it's all updated and there's no updates, you are all done with your updates. So for now, hopefully it's a lot of updating. I know you can actually just go ahead and let this update in the background, but do it now so that it doesn't interrupt your gaming experience later on. Now, the full screen experience is supposed to stop that, but you also want to make sure that your games are running at the best possible way that they can. And you are going to need those updated graphics drivers and all those other updates so that it does run the best that it can. That's pretty much all done. You can stop watching the video here. However, if you're new to Windows or you don't really know how Windows works too well, or you just want to optimize your handheld just a little bit more, I can give you a few more things that I do, especially with desktops, handheld PCs. It doesn't matter. Whenever I run Windows for the first time, fresh install, this is what I do. I go to the start menu. Actually, I'm going to want to go right trigger, click on the taskbar settings. You're going to want to make sure that touch keyboard is switched from when no keyboard is attached to always. You're going to need this to type. For some reason, sometimes the keyboard don't pop up. However, having this little button here is going to remedy that. So we're going to go back into the settings. Or we're going to, not back into the settings, we're going to go ahead and right trigger the system settings thing, go to installed app. And this is where you're going to be able to uninstall applications without harming Windows. Now, there are a bunch of applications that you need so that the device can run the way it needs to run, like Armoury Crate or the AMD software, the AMD lighting effects, Aura settings. These are things you need. However, there's a lot of Microsoft crap that does not need to be here. Just go scrolling through this. I can show you a bunch of them. Copilot, Dolby Atmos, you probably want to save. Family, Feedback Hub. Those are Microsoft Corporation apps that are not needed. You could keep scrolling down. Microsoft 365, Microsoft 365 Copilot. You can't get rid of Bing. Maybe. Actually, you probably can. It's Edge you can't get rid of. Microsoft Clipchamp, OneNote, Teams, To Do. You don't need these. If you're using this handheld as a gaming handheld, you do not need this. Unless you're actually going to be using this as a full-blown PC, you might want these things. Ultimately, you bought this to play video games on, and you do not want these things. So click on the three dots, uninstall them. They're unnecessary and taking up space. It may be kilobytes of space. It's still space. It's still unnecessary. It's still bloatware. It still takes up space in the menus. It's just ugly. I don't want it. Get rid of it. Keep going. Sticky notes. I don't use sticky notes. I don't use the weather. Boom. All that. Get it out of here. So once that's all done, you could go to your search. You've uninstalled all the apps. You've done all your updates. Everything's all said and done. Windows updates is done. Everything's good to go. You're going to want to go ahead and do some disk cleanup. If you click on the search and the keyboard don't pop up, guess what? That's why we got the touchscreen keyboard there. Click that, and then you're going to be able to type. I already have it typed out here. So disk cleanup. It's going to pop up this window here. You're going to want to make sure to go ahead and clean up system files as well. I already ran this pre-video, so it's not going to be as insane. But when I did run this before, it had Windows update files. It had temporary files like you see here, and it was 11 gigabytes of data of just random files that were just there. Click yes, delete files, and it cleans all that garbage up. I saved 11 gigabytes of space because I deleted all the temporary Windows update files that would have just sat there until whenever. And there you go. It is restarted back in. Everything is set up. You're all signed in. All the bloatware is gone. Everything is up to date, cleaned out, ready to go. Your handheld is exactly when you need it to go. If you have any recommendations and things you think you should do on your handheld when you first started that I did not recommend, let me know in the comment section down below. If you happen to have any questions, leave those down there as well. If you want, you could check out a list of the different things that I use accessories wise for my handhelds in the description down below. Go ahead, check that out. Bring you to the Amazon page. Affiliate links. I get a little kickback whenever you buy something. I appreciate it if you do. But that's pretty much it for today. You already know what to do. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for more videos like this and on the ROG Xbox Ally X. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.